Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the For Your Scenes Fire American Soccer Show as we will review, of course, the second quarterfinal match day of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Once again, I am joined by Michael Martinez of Cascadia FC as we will break down Spain versus Belgium. Um, you know, this was an even match, I thought, Michael. I thought it was an even match from start till I would say the unfortunate injury to Thibaut Courtois. I think that injury really knocked Belgium down, maybe a peg or two. Um, Not to say that the backup goalkeeper I thought was horrible, but I just didn't see him really have enough challenges. And even though he didn't make a very good save um, on the initial shot, but left a very big rebound, for Sene Lamens, still though, that was tough for Belgium to just, lose that one. And, this could have gone the extra 30, but not so. And Belgium is eliminated, and Spain moves on to face the French in the semifinals.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, start to finish, this game was incredible. Like the way that Belgium set up and they executed their game plan to perfection. Like I thought they weren't necessarily sitting back, but they were definitely eliminating all of Spain's chances that they were creating in the box. Like I think Spain had 40 something touches in the box, but only like 14 shots, which is
Mm-hmm.
wild. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and even then, and when Belgium got on the ball and when they were in transition, they were quick, they were precise, and they if it wasn't for some incredible defending and some great goalkeeping from Unai Simon, this game could have been either 2-2 or, like you said, it could have gone even further into extra time.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And I have to give Rudy Garcia has been a damn good international manager for Belgium in this World Cup, without a doubt. I think he has been better than Roberto Martinez was back in 2018 in Russia. Even I would say 2022 in that World Cup. But Rudy Garcia really, in my mind, you can definitely say he squeezed out the quality out of Belgium to get them this far. He
It
really
really,
did.
yeah. I mean, you saw that in the knockout stages, especially. Like, I mean, the group stage they were pretty bad, and I kind of mostly jotted down to the players just kind of generally not being ready for the tournament, and you kind of saw that in the touches and kind of like they weren't really making the right runs. But as soon as the knockout stage hit, Rudy Garcia got everything right, and the players got everything right as well. I mean, they executed their game plans to near perfection, and they honestly could be semifinalists. They're definitely good enough, and I think there's a lot of hope for Belgian fans for the future. Like obviously they're losing Kevin De Bruyne, probably Thibaut Courtois, Axel Witsel, Romelu Lukaku, like all these players that last the golden generation. They're probably gonna be done after this.
Hmm.
But there's so many young players that are on this Belgian side and ones that are coming up now who will make just as big of an impact.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. And Belgium has always been known to having quality players. They've always done well. They've always been a tough out. They've always been fighting, scratching, clawing. It doesn't matter what competition. They always find a way to give you their best, and they always find a way to, when you think they're not going to advance, they do
Mhm.
until their last dying breath on the pitch, basically. They're an incredible team. You know, you consider them one of those nations in Europe where they're kind of like in and out, sort of, if you know what I mean, like right in the middle of the pack. But there's times when you say to yourself, they should at least be a big five, along with Germany, England, Italy, and Spain.
Well,
At
definitely
least to
I
me, they
consider
should.
them a top nation for sure. I mean, they still are. I mean, they can't pull it together in the last big moments like that. Like even like
Mhm.
today. Like I mean, but the team is still really good, and I can still see them still being top 10 in the world for a very long time. It just depends if Rudy Garcia stays on, and depends who they bring in next. If they can
Mhm.
actually get the right players and start playing the right systems.
No, absolutely. And I think Charles de Ketelaere has been an amazing addition for Belgium on the national team. I know he didn't do much at the start, but in the game against the U.S., the 2 goals he got, and including the tying goal he got, the equalizer he got in the 41st minute, 3 goals in the last 2 knockout stage games. I mean, that's amazing.
It is, and Charles de Ketelaere is such an interesting player too, because I mean, when he first came through at Club Brugge in Belgium, he was like a young phenom, made the early move to AC Milan, where he was pretty bad there, and even at Atalanta, and still in Spain, or sorry, Italy, he's been okay. His form leading into World Cup hasn't been all that great, but when he puts on the Belgian shirt, he's a completely different player.
Yeah.
And I mean, and he's a big boy, but he's also an incredible playmaker as well. So I mean, if they can start getting like the Jeremy Doku, Luca Bacchio, and Charles Ketelaere trio up and firing in the next cycle, they will be a scary, scary team.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. That's what I think about Belgium all the time. Great talent, great players, plenty of quality, like I've already said, and they are scary to battle against. And you got to make sure that, if you're the opposition, whether you're in UEFA or if you're going to face them in the World Cup in a group stage, you got to know how to kill them off, because if you don't, look what happened with Senegal. Look what happened to, I think it was Egypt. I think it was that I could be wrong on that one, but I think it was Egypt that they should have had them in the group stage, and they didn't. And Lukaku still found a way to get the equalizer, even though he forced into an own goal. But still, though, that he can still make magic at his age.
I mean, he was still making magic in this game too. There was a couple plays at the end, like he fouled Unai Simon to almost get the equalizer, but the fact that he was right there, still scrapping in the box, still creating plenty of danger for Pau Gabarce and Emerick Laporte, like it was. I feel like a lot of these Belgian players, like the elder statesmen in this side, they definitely turned back the sands of time for this one, and they really showed their quality.
Yeah, they really, really did. For Spain, I have to say, you got to give them credit. Apparently, this is their 6th match in the World Cup. Obviously, group stage and knockout games combined. They never allowed a single goal in their net until de Ketelaere put it in. I mean, that's just tremendous. That's absolutely
640 minutes without a goal is wild. It's insane. I mean, the defense has been really, really good this time around. Like, I mean, I was really paying attention this time. I had my dad over at the house watching the game, and I was really paying attention to how their defensive setup was.
Yeah.
And the way that Pedro Porro and Marc Cucurella, they sit back so far. They only make those runs forward when they actually need to. They will not just be high and wide like a Hakimi would, or even examples, whatever else. But they'll sit back and they'll wait for their chances. They're calculated in their runs, but they're so organized defensively, and it's showing. And it's not just like Unai Simon making great saves, which is the defense has been incredible.
No, I agree. They've just been amazing, and especially with Unai Simon in goal for them, who has been phenomenal himself. He's really been phenomenal. And you think to yourself, could you imagine, facing Cape Verde in that first game, and they just couldn't get anything past them? Could you imagine if they would have gotten a goal against Spain and they would have fallen to them 1-0 in that first group stage match? Could you imagine the noise that would have happened across the world, that Cape Verde was going to probably upset Spain? I mean, it was still an upset no matter what. It was a scoreless draw, and they nicked a point off of them. But, if it's not for that defensive game that Spain absolutely, does very well with, I mean, this could have been a different World Cup for Spain from start to finish. Could have been.
It really could have been, and I think they got their tactics right. I mean, as long as they keep this momentum going, they keep their shape, which even with whether it's Pedri or Fabian Ruiz like it was today and Rodri in the middle, I think as long as they can keep that momentum going with that, they should be just fine against France. But I mean, to get onto that, I was surprised that going into this game that Pedri was not starting as the other 6. They went with Fabian Ruiz instead. I mean, obviously it paid off. He got the opening goal, but going into the game, I did not expect to have Pedri on the bench.
No, I agree with you. That was to me, that was also the weirdest switch to start this match. But like you said, Fabian Ruiz scored and it paid off on the rebound chance. And, originally, Danny Olmi, that was a great save by Courtois before, in that
Oh my God,
first
yeah.
half, but just couldn't handle the rebound.
And yeah, I mean the whole play in general was fantastic, and what from Yamal or Lemmy Yamal to Pedro Porro
Hmm.
to an open Olmo, and then I mean that's the kind of plays that you want to see in a World Cup match like this. Like you expect those kind of plays from Spain, but I did not expect Fabian Ruiz to be the one making the run. I honestly expected uh, Alex Baena to be right there, but hey,
Yeah.
Fabian Ruiz definitely did fantastic in this game.
No, he really did. He was really amazing. And, on that second goal, they do it again, once again, a rip from distance by Pau Kubarsi. And the Lameni couldn't handle it. And here comes once again, Mikhail Marino just runs in on his horse and just slams it home. I mean, he would not be denied a second game winner like he did against Portugal in second half stoppage time in the round of 16 match. That was just tremendous what he did. Just tremendous.
I mean, he's probably the best super sub in this tournament.
Yeah.
Honestly, he does the same thing week in week out for Arsenal. Like the amount of goals that he gets coming off the bench and just crashing the box. Like he's such a weird player. I was talking to my dad about this early in the game. Like growing up and watching him at Real Sociedad in Spain, he is more of like a 10/8 ish. But the
Mm-hmm.
moment he moves to England and for Arsenal, Mikel Arteta starts like, I'm gonna play as a 9, see what happens, just for fun. We have injuries, let's see what happens. And he's doing this now.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was really interesting kind of seeing Spain's shape change a little bit as the game was progressing. You see Danny Olmo kind of playing like as that 9 along with Oyarzabal. And then as
Mm-hmm.
soon as Mikel Moreno comes on, they were full on playing like 4 up front, like old school soccer, like 4 forwards, get the ball up, and like we just said, it paid off
It's
immensely,
it.
and they got the winner.
No, absolutely. And that's what you want to see. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. If you're a head coach of a national team or even a club team, and, give Michael Arteta a lot of credit. And probably, I mean, I'm assuming, the Spanish head coach saw this and he's like, is this what he's letting you do at Arsenal? Yes. All right, let's do the same thing. And you know what? If I can pronounce his name correctly, I'm sorry, Luis de la
Yeah,
Fuente Castillo.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. But
He's been great he's been Spain's manager for a long ass time, and he's been
yes,
so good. He's only lost 3 games with the Spanish side since he
that's
took over in
amazing.
2022.
That's crazy. He's only lost 3 games as the head coach of Spain's men's team.
Yeah.
How many years was he like there for like what 7 years, a decade or something?
So he started off in the youth teams and the U19s and the 21s and 23s, and then as of 2022, he made the switch to the senior team, and
Hmm.
they've been playing this insane style of football for years
Wow,
now.
that's amazing. See, this is also, I believe, some of these national teams. It's not just you have, you know, talented players coming through the pipeline in each country, but especially in Spain and probably also, they have these fantastic coaches. They
Mhm.
do amazing things. Either, they go through the pecking order themselves. They start off with the under 17s and then they go to the under 19s and the under 20s and the under 21s and the under 23s. And now it's like, okay, it's your turn to be the head coach of the senior men's team. And then whammo, they just do this. They just do amazing things. And, they just don't skip a beat at all. And they're always this damn good.
I mean, the Spanish footballing mind is so interesting to pay attention to and study. I just want to pick their brains. I just want to
Hmm.
sit down and pick the manager's brains, just kind of see how they see the game. So obviously we can commentate and we see it in our own ways, but they see it in a completely different light. Whether it's De La Fuente, it's Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, Xabi Alonso, even. I mean, it's just the amount of Spanish coaches that are at the elite level is just insane.
It is. It really, really is. And this is where I always say this, it this is where I wish some of our American head coaches would be at, the where the Spanish are. You know, England's too easy. England's too, um, typical, I would say, because everyone knows it doesn't matter who England's manager is. It's always going to be the same thing over and over and over. I mean, look what Thomas Tuchel's done now with England, as their head coach. I mean, he's been tremendous, and I know there are. I think I caught something from English TV news or something. These talk shows in England, how they're upset because Tuchel's a German and he's taken over our national team. And, the hope is that we'll have an Englishman being the head coach of the national team. Well, look, if they can always go back to an Englishman whenever they want. But if
Yeah,
Tuchel's going to lead them to the promised land, then I think, some of these guys need to just sit down, take your medicine, and watch Tuchel do the job.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they can always go back to Southgate, who played such negative football that most England fans hated their lives. And I don't blame them. Like, Southgate ball was horrendous. But I mean, if England were to win this World Cup, they would be the first nation ever to win a World Cup without a domestic manager.
Yeah.
So I understand. I can kind of understand why, they want to have more domestic managers, why most national teams have somebody representing their country at a domestic level with that. Because you want to have that full country representation there. But I mean, it's like the U.S. We brought in Mauricio Pochettino, and he kind of changed the program, felt like overnight.
Yeah.
Well, seemingly in a year and a half. And now imagine you get these other international coaches coming in, you give them chances to change the programs and kind of changing it and changing the mindset of these players and these youth players. You're going to have so many more competitive teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I really think our coaching needs to be improving as well. Let me say this right now. When it comes to our coaches, right now, obviously, one particular American head coach is up in Canada right now, and he's going to stay there for another cycle. And he deserves that because he got them as far as they could in this particular World Cup. And now they're going to have to go through qualifying, just like Mexico has to go through qualifying, just like our guys have to go through qualifying. The reality is this. There is one person I would love to give him the head coaching job for the men's national team, but I believe he still needs more time at the club level. And yes, I'll say it, BJ Callahan, because when the whole situation happened where it was supposed to be somebody else as the interim head coach during the whole Greg Berhalter. Well, did he do this to his wife when they were in college? Did he do that to his wife when he was in college? Why did the Reynas all of a sudden blurt this out to U.S. Soccer after the World Cup because they're so upset their son didn't get the necessary minutes to play, which, I'm not going to play. Pardon the words, high school bitch. But, what are you going to do? And then when the interim left, BJ Callahan was all of a sudden thrown in as the interim to the interim. And I'm thinking to myself, and I wrote this on Beyond the 90, this is the biggest joke I've ever seen in my life. How is it you're giving some guy who never, ever was a head coach for a club team that just comes out of nowhere and you just hand him the interim job as the secondary guy? And what's he going to do? And he proved me wrong. Nations League, he proved me wrong. Gold Cup, he proved me wrong. Everyone was jonesing for him. Everyone wanted him. But then again, you wasted everyone's time and you brought back Berhalter for no reason, in my opinion. And then, you finished the Gold Cup losing to Panama in the semifinals, which that was a hell of a run for, at the time, a novice who, in some ways, in my book, a novice who was never a head coach at a club side at all. Never. I think it was some sort of performance head coach for Philadelphia Union before Greg picked him up to become the head coach, to be part of his staff on the men's national team. And now I can definitely say, while do I want BJ Callahan as the next head coach of the U.S. men's national team? Yes. Do I think he'll come right away for this next cycle? It all depends on either A, Pochettino stays, which I wouldn't mind him staying, or B, if Pochettino leaves, do you take him out of Nashville now, or do you bring in somebody else and you let him get some more seasoning in the MLS level?
I don't imagine BJ Callahan leaving Nashville, to be honest. He kind of has a pretty cushy setup. He gets to bring in the players that he wants.
He does.
he knows the market very, very well. He knows how to scout. He's a very good talent scout. The way he was able to pull Rebecca Whiting from the Sounders was fantastic. Not many teams were able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Which can.
Yeah.
But I just don't think he wants to lose that control. I mean, with U.S. soccer, yeah, he can choose who comes in, whatever else, blah 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 blah. But I mean, you get more time with your players and you get to develop your system. I also don't know if his system would work for the U.S. because it's very much he plays very high intensity and almost like a Red Bull style type football almost.
Yep.
Which I just don't think the U.S. is ready for.
Right.
I think Pochettino does a good balance of both, kind of like the technical and that high intensity style of play. My dream would be Pellegrino Matarazzo at Real Sociedad. I would love to bring him in because he was fantastic at both Stuttgart and Hoffenheim and at Sociedad. Like in his first season, he won a trophy with Sociedad. Yep. He won a Copa del Rey. Like,
yep.
I mean, obviously, it's going to be hard to pull him out of there as well because he's going into his second season with Sociedad.
Yes.
And again, he has the trust of the board and trust of the players. Yes. And he seems genuinely happy there. But he would be my dream pull because, again, he's American. He played for the national team at one point in his career. And it makes sense. But again, both candidates are very, very good. Mm-hmm. But besides that, there's almost no one else for the U.S.
There really isn't. And I mean, look, I would love to have the Fair Lawn, New Jersey native on the team. I would love to have Matarazzo as the head coach for the men's national team as well. I really believe, and like I said, you know, I wouldn't pull him away from Real Sociedad right now either. I would let him stay there for a couple more years. I would. In this upcoming cycle, I would leave him there. And like I said, I would love for Pochettino to stay. I think he's done a lot of good things during this World Cup. And at the same time, this was an emergency hire for our U.S. men's national team. After you fired Berhalter, which you shouldn't have brought him back in the first place, and you wasted another at least 2.5 years of the national team program. And I mean, I watched on the HBO Max app, you know, that documentary they've been doing with the national team on their way to the World Cup. And I think I'm on the Gold Cup section right now, getting ready for the final against Mexico. But, you know, I really want to see Pochettino remain on this national team for another 4 years. I know they're going to be talking. I know he's going to take his rest now. He'll take a break. But I really would love for U.S. Soccer to keep him. I think we need to have him for a full 4 years. And if after that, you know, if he can get us into the quarterfinals for once, I know some are saying, let's get to the semifinals because that's the furthest that this national team has been since 1930, which I'll be happy to. But I like what I've seen from him. I like how they played. The way they played against Belgium, that's an anomaly. But at the same time, it was the wrong time to basically have a brain fart, if we're being honest.
Yeah. They regressed to the means in that game.
Yes.
They did.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, I believe that, you know, well, okay, well, that we won't worry about that stuff. That's already, we're already past that point. It's already over. But, you know, I got to tell you is that this is going to be a very interesting time now once the World Cup is over, officially over. Now, I don't know if Pochettino will go and continue on into the Nations League, but, you know, into the fall. But if his contract ends at the end of the World Cup, you know, U.S. Soccer is really going to have to start really pushing him and try to get him to stay. Because if he leaves, like I said, Jesse's not coming back. He's going to remain in Canada. Who are you going to get for this cycle, and who are you going to trust? Are you going to get another foreign manager, or are you going to get someone domestic who, because I'll tell you this right now, if they go back to Berhalter and beg him to come back, I will not be happy. I will not be happy, and they're going to run yourself into the ground again.
It would just show this federation is not serious.
No, exactly. Exactly.
If they call any of the old former managers, they bring Bob Bradley, Berhalter, or Bruce Arena, then this organization would be a joke. I don't think they will. So I think they realize now that like they can't be doing that.
No.
But honestly, I want to hate Brian Schmetzer from the Sounders. I think
Listen,
he'd be a fantastic coach for the U.S. men's national team.
I'm not arguing with you about Schmetzer. I even said to, I don't think it was, I said this to you. I think I said this to some of the other guys in Seattle that when I was at SB Nation, when it was Sounder at Heart, I think it was Ocean, I was asking him, and I said, do you think Schmetzer would ever leave the Sounders to become the men's national team? I mean, I wouldn't mind it if Schmetzer took over for the men's national team. I think he's a on the domestic level. I think he would work. I really do. But the question is this, because he's also said in interviews he wouldn't want the job. I guess I think he wants to stay in Seattle.
Mm-hmm. He is Mr. Sounder. He is Mr. Seattle.
He is. He is. Yeah. But if you take him away, I mean, who's next in line in Seattle to take the job? If he does ever say, yes, I'll take the men's national team job.
Unfortunately, it'd be Preki, which I would scream. I don't want Preki anywhere near the head coaching job.
You see, you got your own issues too, don't you?
I got my own issues with the coaching staff, but I mean, I'm sure they probably could find somebody fairly well.
I think they can.
Still, But I mean, getting Schmetz is a pipe dream for the U.S. That won't happen. He's not going to leave the Sounders. Like you said, he is Mr. Sounder. He is Mr. Seattle. He has zero question of leaving or zero intent of leaving that club. But again, I think like we both said, I think his man management skills would translate fantastic over to this team, and he would definitely bring this team together even closer than anyone else ever has.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree. But like I said, the only way he's leaving Seattle is when he retires. Because like I said, I don't think he's ever leaving Seattle. I think he'll keep the job there. And like I said, the only way he says goodbye is when he retires from being the head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
on his own terms. Exactly. Whenever he's ready to go, that's when he's going to leave. Other than that, I just don't see him being on the national team. But I'm not disagreeing with you. I would love to have him on the national team as the head coach. I would. If I'm scanning domestically, he's definitely the one. I definitely am not asking Michael Bradley to leave the Red Bulls. He's not ready to leave at any time at all. He just got into the head coaching department half the season last year at Red Bull 2. Winning the MLS Next Pro title, and now with Red Bull MLS side right now. Currently has him in 5th place in the East, so I don't see Michael Bradley. It's way too early for him to go anywhere else. But
no, Michael Bradley needs at least like 10 plus years of club management before he even thinks about international.
Exactly. That's how I see him right now. He's got to remain with the Red Bulls until maybe after a decade, and then say, okay, maybe we'll give him a shot. But for now, Michael Bradley stays at the Red Bull New York, and I don't know who else you would consider right now, American wise.
There's nobody.
Really, there
was Steve Cherundolo, but he went back. I mean, obviously, he is now the under-23 coach for the Olympics, Olympic qualifying. But I mean, still, he doesn't want to come back to live here. He wants to stay in Germany.
Right. Exactly.
That's why he left LAFC in the first place. I mean,
exactly.
I doubt we'll see him. He'd be a good option because the way his LAFC team plays is really fun. But
well, here's the thing with Jesse. I mean, let me tell you with Jesse. I don't know if you saw this report. It was with Ben Jacobs of Give Me Sport. I had him on my show actually. Ben Jacobs, very nice guy, wonderful guy,
great guy.
Jesse is living in Italy with his family because his wife has dual citizenship in Italy. I think her family is Italian, and they're living in a house somewhere. They're growing their own olive farm right now. So whenever he comes back for Canada, that's when he hops on the plane and he goes to Canada and he goes with the national team, and then he just flies back. So I mean, and he probably has his own place in Toronto or something, just to, live there before, Yeah, exactly. So I don't see why not Trundle can do the same. Like he'll be with his family in Germany, but he could always fly back if he becomes the men's national team head coach and just, gets his own little place to stay. I mean, I don't think the U.S. Soccer would be that all upset to say, hey, listen, you let the scouts scout the players in MLS, in Europe, and then Steve can just follow the players in Europe, and then all he does is just flies back to the States and gets ready for international weeks.
Mhm. I mean, as long as he doesn't pull Jurgen Klinsmann of South Korea, I mean, that's fine. then it's totally fine. We don't need no Zoom training or anything like that. Whatever shit he was
No,
pulling
no,
over there.
no, 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 no. We cannot have that. No, we cannot have that. We definitely cannot. But still, though, this is going to be an interesting time for the U.S. men's national team. But it will be an interesting time as we got two more quarterfinal matches to discuss, and that'll be tomorrow night, of course. And here is that schedule right now, ladies and gentlemen, for the final match day in the quarterfinals of the 2026 World Cup. Norway will be taking on England down in my backyard at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, near Miami. And that's 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. And then Argentina will take on Switzerland, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, over at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Kansas. Once again, all matches in English will be broadcasted on Fox, streamed on Fox 1, and of course in Spanish, broadcasted on Telemundo and streaming on NBC's Peacock website or app on your mobile devices. Well, what do we think about these next two games in the quarterfinals, Michael?
Oh my god, craziness! I mean, England lost Mark Gahey early this morning in training, or yesterday in training. I think he's gonna be out for probably the rest of the World Cup, or at least this next game, which is a massive blow to their defense. I mean, Ezri Konsa is good, but he's a little too unreliable at times. He's a little too crazy with his pressing, and he will go into hard tackles for no reason. Dan Burn, he closed up the last game really, really well against Mexico, and he looked good, but I just don't know if he's going to start, especially going up against Norway's front three. I think it'll be really hard for them because Dan Burn is kind of a slower guy. Great defender, but he's a little on the slower side. And then on the other side for Argentina and Switzerland, Manzambi, who is Switzerland's leading goal scorer and leading assister, just came out without injury as well. It's wow. I mean, two key injuries, and I mean, it feels like the script is writing itself. Like Messi and Argentina gonna beat an injured and battered Switzerland to go to the semifinal, play against Erling Haaland in Norway, who Erling Haaland is now somehow America's darling now, which is hilarious. Like I love Erling Haaland, obviously City fan, but it feels weird. Both games should be good. I think the Norway-England game will be a better matchup style-wise and tactic-wise compared to the Argentina-Switzerland game. But even without Manzambi, I can see Switzerland at least taking it to Argentina. I can see it being another 120-minute game.
I could too. It's going to be exciting. I feel like England's going to meet their match with Norway. I just think that right now, I mean, they have a good team, but let's be honest. Haaland is just telling his guys, jump on my back. I'll lead you to the victory. And we're going to shock the world when we make the final.
I told you, I predicted Norway to make the final and win the World Cup.
Yes, you did.
First day we started this, you asked who was going to win. I said Norway.
You did. No, you did, and I don't think I scoffed at that. I mean, I thought that's a dark horse pick.
Yeah. I mean, if they can get Sorloth has not been all that impressive this tournament so far. Obviously, the talking point is Haaland and Odegaard for Norway, but if they can get Alexander Sorloth into this game and kind of creating stuff on his own in the wing and really kind of being like that almost that target winger that they use him as, then I can see England having a really, really hard time, regardless if it's Dan Burn, Nico O'Reilly, or Declan Rice on him. If they can get Sorloth into this game and get him laying the ball off for Odegaard or Holland or either the Bergs, this game should be easy for Holland or for Norway.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree with you. We'll see what happens. Real quick, we'll take a question from the chat room. I want to ask you a question, and I like an honest answer. How would you rate Trump's involvement in getting the red card reversed? And listen, if you listened to our show the Sunday before they played Belgium, the U.S., we didn't like it. We did not like it. I have said many times that I want our politicians to not get involved in this sort of situation. And look, I think if you watched on Beyond the 90 on Substack, that even Carter Krishnar, he even said, yes, Trump did make the call, but he did not influence the situation. Infantino did tell him, leave it alone, leave it alone. We have the independent body reviewing the red card. So at least we know that Trump, he did inquire, did not actually have any say whatsoever. He tried, but didn't do anything. But once again, like I have said, when a senator on the Democratic side of the U.S. Senate tried to do the same thing to interfere with FIFA business, I have posted on social media to tell him to please stand down. When there was a Republican congressman that was also trying to interfere with FIFA business, I also wrote to him and told him to please stand down. What Trump did was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. I mean, look, he can ask. That's okay to inquire and ask. But to actually try to interfere with FIFA business, he should not have made that attempt. I don't mind if he asks the question, because that's fine. Asking a question is fine. But interfering with FIFA business, especially the disciplinary committee, that should have been an absolute no. And thankfully, I believe Gianni Infantino did the right thing and tell him, leave it alone. Don't ask. I mean, you can ask, but don't interfere. We have that independent body to look at everything. And they apparently, once the red card did get shown after the VAR review, the independent body was on the case. The problem is they took too much time to get it to that point where it was a 24-hour period before the game against Belgium. So Belgium has every right to be upset about it, and hopefully it won't happen again.
I hope not. I mean, the whole situation was just ridiculous from start to finish. I mean,
It was.
the fact that we have politicians trying to sway the way of the footballing body to what they want, probably because they have bets on the line, which is we've seen that that's currently happening right now with the administration, and it's just ridiculous. That I know that politics and football, they kind of go hand in hand in a lot of situations, but this is the time where just stay out of it. You have no reason or right to even be saying it or trying to do anything about it.
Exactly.
And it became a distraction. I mean, yes, the U.S. obviously they played like garbage in that Belgian game, but all this nonsense allowed Belgium to create their own momentum. They were playing against the U.S. They weren't just playing for the badge. They were playing actively to knock out the U.S. The U.S. players were obviously distracted by it.
They were.
There was so much controversy at training, and the fact that before training started, because obviously, like I said the other day before I hopped off for work, I had friends that were at training, and they said you could tell the players were rattled, and they were not focused because of everything that was happening. Everyone was confused going into it because the reporters and players all getting different news all at the same time. No one understand what was happening.
Yeah.
I imagine having to do that day before the game,
exactly.
It was unnecessary distraction.
It is, and this is where I blame FIFA, because look, if you wanted to reverse the red card suspension, then you should have just done it 1, 2, 3. You should have just done it really quickly, either after the match was over, or the match was like on a Wednesday, I think it was. I think the game was on a Wednesday. They should have just made the decision on Thursday and say, we reviewed we reviewed the incident. We looked at the protocols. There were errors, and we will officially suspend the 1-match ban. That's what they should have done on Thursday. Then none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened. It would have been a regular match on Monday, and everything would have been fine. But no, FIFA had to drag their heels for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm. They made everything worse. I mean, then it starts encouraging other nations to start doing it. I mean, England tried doing it themselves. The French tried to do it to get Michael Olisa's yellow card rescinded, and you're just allowing countries to do this. You're allowing politicians to get their hands involved in the game more than they already have it in. Like, they already have a pretty tight grip on everything, and we're just giving them more power than we need to.
Exactly. Now, listen to this. I saw on social media from Polymarket, of course, they put up a tweet talking about, I guess, somewhere, I guess, on the German broadcasts of the World Cup. Former German national team goalkeeper and former Bayern Munich goalkeeper Oliver Kahn said about the whole thing with Balogun and the suspending the one-game ban. I would like to go back to 2002 and have Michael Ballack's yellow card rescinded so he didn't get the yellow card accumulation one match suspension in the final over Brazil. And so I said, okay, Oliver, then if that's what you want, well then, I would like for the U.S. men's national team to earn the penalty that they should have gotten against you and your team because of the handball by Torsten Frings so that we could get that penalty kick attempt. You want the yellow card for Ballack rescinded? I want the penalty kick taken too. I want that back.
So again,
you can't have it both ways.
This is what this has created. It's calling all these people creating these what if scenarios. And it's like the game's already happened. We don't need to keep looking back on it and saying, oh, what if this happened? What if this happened? But like, because this is all the situation is doing, and it's gonna leave a sour mark. I mean, honestly, the story of the tournament should be like a Cabo Verde. It should be how Spain is playing, how France is playing, like how these some of the young stars are coming through in this tournament and showing what they can really do. But instead, it's going to be all about how the Trump administration got their hands on the World Cup, or they tried to get their hands on the World Cup. That's all that's going to come out of this entire thing, and it's sad.
Exactly. Now, with the whole betting on the games things, I cannot confirm nor can I deny. It's because I have no clue what's going on in the White House. I don't have that access. But I can definitely say this. What Trump did was wrong. He should have left it alone. Keep the comments about that to yourself and just let FIFA, which he did, but he should just kept his mouth shut. That's all I'm saying about it. And that's all we're going to talk about here. But anyway, Michael, another fantastic show today. Thank you very much again for joining me, and see you tomorrow night. Late night. This is one of those rare times.
Back to the regular schedule.
Back to the regular schedule until next week.
Next week, yeah.
But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Don't forget, if you're interested in Pacific Northwest footy in Oregon, Washington State, and British Columbia in Canada, Cascadia FC, Michael Martinez covers Seattle Sounders, Jeremy Peterman for the Portland Timbers. They also do the Vancouver Whitecaps as well. For Michael Martinez, I'm Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching us today. Enjoy your evening over wherever you are in the world. If you're watching us here live on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us today and tonight. And as always, please enjoy your football. Have a good night, everybody.